What did maybe the film show or anything you guys are having points of emphasis this week on
Um,
defense?
there's a lot to fix. I mean, I thought that Oregon's a good team that did a really good job, and we have schematical things, some technical things. I mean, when we came back from it, the biggest thing for us was just we got to get back to fundamentals and just you know thought that there were a lot of times we were in position we just didn't make plays, and we just got to be better there.
Is there anything you guys can do specifically to kind of help with tackling and just from week to week improve in that area?
Practice. Yeah, I mean it's uh, there's always a happy medium, right? Like there's nothing like simulating tackling, and so you like to tackle, but you'd like to stay healthy, and so there's different things that people do. There's different things that we've done through the years, and it's just and some of it too is really my fault. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about schemes and stuff, it may look right on paper, but what you're asking a player to do, the spacing and the timing of it may not be like to his advantage. So I may be asking a player to do something that was a little bit harder to do physically, and that's maybe that's one of the reasons was we look at it schematically is we're asking certain players to do certain things, and they may just be put in bad positions by myself, and so that's on me as a coach, and we've got to be better. But fundamentals, I mean, you just got to keep working on. There's nothing like simulating tackling. You just got to tackle. You got to simulate it. You got to try to stay healthy, and I think 50% of the country right now is having this interview and is talking about things that they need to do better and get better at. You know what I mean? And so we're in that spot right now. We don't like to be, but I think we've got to get better at fundamentals.
How did you recruit Logan Latui here, and has he been kind of a pleasant surprise? I know he's seen some playing time.
Didn't recruit him because he was actually at another school, and so he actually just got into school on his own, walked on, and it was I felt like it was great to get a guy like that. I mean, he's got a lot of ability, a lot of good football ahead of him.
What about him stands out to you as a player?
He's physical. He brings just a different type of physicality to the game. Now, I think all the players that are playing that position, we ask a lot of them as far as just coverages and knowing things, and he's pretty sharp. I mean, he's pretty sharp. He understands things. He got things a lot quicker than I thought he would coming, being new into the program, new into the system. I mean, he didn't practice with us in the spring. He wasn't here in the summer. It was just all of a sudden, we're looking at guys that are just in school in our walk-on program that may be available, and we actually had a spot and a need for what he was. And so when we came in, the plan was really just, okay, he's a scout team guy. We're going to need him to give us a look. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, this kid's got something. And as we went through fall camp, he just kept showing up and showing out, and thought it was a good thing. And obviously he's traveling, he's playing for us now.
And my wife said you hit quite a bit. I know on the interception you got him pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, he needed to be running the other way.
I wanted to ask you, you said in the coordinator's corner, you felt like that three-man front, you thought that was going to be to your advantage going into that game. And then you guys, I saw later in the game, you went to that four-man.
Yeah.
How difficult is that in game to say, hey, all of a sudden we're scrapping almost this plan over here and throwing this?
That's tough. It's tough when you're doing that, but I mean that's really just the chess match that you play with another coach. Right? They come in and they do something a little bit different, something that you weren't anticipating. If you don't change, it's not going to change. And so we were already at a point at the game where we were like, okay, we really got to change something. It was difficult. I mean, those kind of changes and the type of things that you're doing, it's almost hard to do it in the middle of going back and forth in series. And so we decided we were going to wait until halftime to implement any of those things, and came back, thought that we played a little bit better up front, but. Like I said with just my previous statement, just about some of the things that you're asking guys in the secondary, right? It's like, okay, you have this guy in coverage, but the ball bounces. Now you have to show up in the run here. Spacing-wise, it looks right on paper because you're just looking at an 8x11 paper. But on the field, against a really good player that's bouncing it and running, sometimes the perimeter tackling just is a little bit more suspect. And I think that's probably more scheme and more on the coordinator than it is the player.
Can you give me a general sense of what you see from Wyoming?
It's you're looking at a coach, a head coach that's won national championships. He's a head coach that knows what he's doing. They know who they are. They know how to do it. They know how to win games. And so you're looking at some of these games that they're winning close. I mean, even in the Mountain West in their conference, where they're winning a lot of games and being a tough opponent. I think that they're a team that is tough to defend. They've got a lot of different personnel groupings. They run the ball really well. We've got to. I mean, this is going to be a test for us because of what happened with us last week. And we got to be better in the run. We got to be better tacklers on the perimeter. We got to have better scheme from the coordinator. And I think we'll be in a good spot. But that's going to be a challenge for us.
You've seen Peasley, their quarterback. You played against him. Has he changed at all from what you saw when he was at Utah State?
It's a different scheme, and
Okay.
so yeah, it's the same thing when Bohannon
Yeah.
went. It's a different scheme. What they're asking him to do is a little bit different. He's more of a game manager, probably closer to our offense and Baylor's offense than it is to what he was at Utah State. I mean, that's complete, like different ends of the spectrum offenses, and so he's a good player. I mean, obviously, if he's playing there and winning games, they're 3-1 right now. He's producing. He manages the offense really well. He gets the ball out. He doesn't take very many sacks, and just does a good job.
You mentioned it a couple times. Is this a similar thing to Baylor? That, in terms of scheming for this team, is it a similar challenge to Baylor?
Yes, yeah. I think it's probably closer to Baylor's offense than of the other ones that we faced, and so big physical tight ends, multiple formations. I mean, they got 2 backs, 3 tight end sets, and just different things that they can do, and they also do what Oregon did to us, which is get into a big personnel and then expand and shrink it from as far as just your formations that you're working with and having to teach, and so there's a lot to it.
With Tyler and Earl, I'm curious, have they been practicing? Are they back in practice?
They both practiced today.
Are you feeling good about where they're at come Saturday?
We'll look at the film and see where we're at, but I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary with them coming back. I thought that they were good today, and we'll look at the film and see where we're at.
With Wyoming, are they a pretty kind of, I mean, what you're describing, it sounds like a pretty traditional Wyoming offense, kind of the one that went up against BYU for 100 years in the WAC and the Mountain West and that kind of thing. Do they kind of look like that on paper? Like, I remember when Coach was out there, it sort of felt like a match made in heaven in a lot of ways.
Yeah, for sure. I think so. I think they've done a phenomenal job just through the years recruiting big offensive linemen, tight ends that can catch, that can block, tough running backs. I mean, they get downhill, and just a quarterback that manages the game, and receivers that do a really good job. And so I do think they remind me a lot of the old Wyoming back when we were you and I were children, just watching them, right? Yeah, for sure.
Back when I was peeping through the knothole because my parents could never afford tickets, but that's another.
That's yeah. I was the same. I was the same with you. Where I didn't get to very many games, but I remember when I was little, we lived here just here in Provo, and I think I was in 2nd grade, and I got into a game somehow. Somebody just let me in with all my boogers coming down my nose. Just, hey, look at this poor kid. Let's let him in. And I got into the game, and we were playing Wyoming. And I remember just standing there and watching the players walk by, and I was like, those guys are humongous. But I thought the same of both teams, just really big physical offensive lines, big D linemen, and some good competitive ball back then.
Kalani mentioned some of the younger guys in the secondary. I'm curious what you've seen in progress with them in practice over the first couple of weeks of this season.
I'm sorry, with who?
Some of the younger guys in the secondary.
Yeah, I mean, work in progress. It's coming along. A little bit harder to spend so much time teaching those guys once you're in the season. I mean, you kind of roll with the guys that are getting it, and hopefully those guys start to get it a little bit later in the season. But with some of the home games that we've got now and not having to travel as much, in the next 4 games, we're going to be home for 3 and traveling only to Vegas for 1. So having that is going to be an advantage for us to suit those guys up, to spend a little bit more time with practice and all that stuff.
Anything else for Coach?
Yes, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.